It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. We're talking this morning with Meredith Walker, who is the author of Be Yourself and Other Bad Advice, a teen girl's guide to unlearning the rules. And our visit is presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm, best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. You can visit them online at marcusandmack.com. Meredith, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me, Todd.
I'm glad that you're here with us today, and I want to introduce to you Joss Bence, who is a senior at Homer Center High School and is a teen girl. And so this book is especially apropos for her. She's read it, and she's going to join us for the interview. That's okay by you?
Oh, I love it. That's even better.
Wonderful.
Hi.
Joss, you read the book. What did you think?
I really loved it. It really dug deep to everything that teen girls go through. I love the way it was broken up by like emotions, curiosity, purpose, and even a big how-to part in the back of the book. I really loved it, and it just helped me like navigate things that I'm going through right now as a graduating senior.
Wonderful. All right, Meredith, it sounds like I need to step out of this
brother.
Just let Joss do this. Joss, go ahead. What do you have for Meredith this morning?
Meredith, while I was reading the book, the biggest thing I thought about was, what do you think is the biggest lie that teen girls are currently told?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, thank you for reading it, and thank you for all the kind words you said about it. I have to get that out there. That's amazing. I'm so glad that it did what it's meant to do, which is get you thinking. I think one of the biggest lies is, I don't know if I'd necessarily, label it a huge lie, but there's just so much pressure on y'all to achieve, and in sometimes in a certain way. And that kind of robs you of the chance to just try things on for size and make mistakes and kind of freely be bad at something just because you wanted to try it without thinking, like, this has to go on my college application, or this has to make me look good on a, future resume or something like that. Sometimes, so many of the young women that I talk to, they feel like all of their free time, so much of their time is in service to like a future that's coming. But real life is right now. Like, enjoy stuff right now. Be in the moment too. Like, this is life. It doesn't come just because you get a good job later or have an epic romance at some point. This is life too. And so, the lie is all this stuff that kind of leads you towards the future instead of just really enjoying the now as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially right now, I'm feeling that pressure where it's like, I need to be in this club, I need to go on this field trip, I need to do every single thing so then my college resume looks good. I'm happy you mentioned that. And another thing I wanted to ask you, what in your career path led you to develop this book? Like, was there any key moment, or was it just a string of moments in your life?
That's such a great question. It was a little bit of both. It was the string of, I realized that for over 20 years, I had been kind of unintentionally collecting data. And I always realized what was really helpful. Like, when I was the one who took Smart Girls on the Road, the organization that Amy Poehler and I had, and I took it on the road and did day camps and workshops and spoke to groups of girls in schools. And it was just every time, the thing that really seemed to resonate the most with the listeners was when I would talk about times that I had messed up or I had failed or life didn't go my way, even if it wasn't my fault. And the relief of like, oh my gosh, like that can happen and you can still kind of have a life. It doesn't completely take you off the rails. And so that's when I really started paying attention to how much pressure everyone's under. And then eventually this is just a continuation of that work. And I realized, you take all of the wisdom that you've learned from listening all these years and put it somewhere and share it. So that's how it came about.
Yeah, that's really great. I'm happy that you put all your wisdom into this book, because reading it, I really just felt inspired and I understood it well. Like, I'm happy with the way it was broken down and being like, oh, if I need something, I can go to this page and figure things out.
I'm so glad you see it that way, because that's how I am. When I get a book, a nonfiction book that I want to learn something, I'll go to the chapter that's kind of speaking to me in that moment. For the most part, But other times I'll also just read through the whole book. And so it's visually appealing in a way that you could think, oh, today I just want to read about this thing. But it's also nice enough that I'll just keep reading. So I'm so glad you're experiencing that way.
Yes, definitely. And another thing I wanted to ask you was, what motivated you and Amy Poehler to start Smart Girls, and how has it personally affected you in your career and everything you've got going on?
Oh, wow. That's such a great question. Well, I'll start with the second part, because it personally affected me by seeing how expressive and intelligent all the girls are that we've spent time with and listened to and worked with through the years. It kind of helped me recognize that I was too. But sometimes when you're in the thick of it, especially when you're on the younger end, like middle school, junior high, when you're really kind of more and more unsure of yourself and just trying to fit in and figure out all that kind of like friendshipy stuff, you can really turn on yourself. And, you can kind of be mean to yourself and be like, I'm such a loser, or whatever it is, whatever it is. And kind of getting to relive that a little bit and see, oh my gosh, no, we're all fine. Everything, I was so cute, and that's always kind of nice. But we started it because just talking about, it's kind of a universal thing when women sit around and talk about, if the subject of middle school or younger, harder years comes up, kind of everybody wouldn't relish the chance to relive those years. It was like, oh, that was tough. Some of that formed, kind of helped shape who I am today, and sometimes not in the best way because I didn't have all the tools to figure it out at the time. No one does. And so revisiting that, and then we would realize, what were the things that did help us? What were the things that made those years a little bit more comfortable for us, or made us like ourselves or be more interested in ourselves? And a lot of times that meant adults paying attention to us in a way where they were really interested in us, and just kind of wanting to have a real conversation with us. And so that's how we started it. It started as a web talk show to invite girls on to just tell us about themselves and their lives. And it just grew from there.
Yeah, that's really great. I know I've always had people to talk to, but I also know there's people in my life that they didn't have that older woman or that older person to talk to get them through those hard years of being in middle school. Because even though middle school was only a few years ago for me, like, there's so many people going through that right now, and looking back on it, it's just nice to know that I had those people there.
Oh yeah, isn't it so nice? And it, what's interesting too is a lot of times it wasn't someone in our family, because you know how it is. Sometimes it's like your mom and dad can be the smartest people and so cool, but because it's your mom and dad, you don't really hear it sometimes, or you don't take it in necessarily. And so it's the fact that it's somebody kind of on the outside a little bit, whether it's a family friend or even like a camp counselor or whoever it is. For some reason, sometimes those kind of resonate. They kind of land even harder, and in the best way. And so anytime you can find that anywhere, it could be a mentor, it could be a coach, it could be a counselor. That relationship it's a good one to try and have if you can.
Yeah, 100%. And since most of your writing is about empowerment, what empowers you? Like, what drives you to do what you do and wake up every morning?
Oh my gosh, these are such great questions, Joss. I love this. You gotta interview people for a living. Like, keep going with this. I mean that. I think what keeps me going is, at this point in my life now, because that's the thing about this book, is it helps you check in with yourself along the way. Because you're going to evolve, you're going to grow, and you're going to change, and your world is going to expand, your perspective is going to expand. And there was a time when, like, what kind of got me going was, what am I going to accomplish today? How am I going to get out there and do it? And now it's more, how am I going to help today? How am I going to make the world safer for people or happier for people? And not even people. Sometimes it's for dogs or the birds I want to feed. But it's always something about, like, how can I just make things a little bit better today? And that always makes me wake up feeling like I'm contributing to the betterment of things. And that's a good feeling for me.
That's a great outlook. Honestly, I'm very much the same way. I just want to help people and serve those around me. And I think more people should wake up and feel that way every day.
I agree. Can you imagine how the world would be if everybody was like that?
It'd be a much better place.
That's wonderful stuff going on here. I have to say, Meredith, this is the easiest interview I've ever had. I'm bringing Joss back every single day now to do the rest of this job for me, and I'm just going to cruise. I do want to
He's
ask
so
you
great.
this. Meredith, by the way, is the author of Be Yourself, Another Bad Advice, a teen girl's guide to unlearning the rules. Nick News, Saturday Night Live, groundbreaking work really with Amy Poehler. Was that the way you mapped it out when you were a teenager?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question too. And no, that's what I kind of love talking about this, especially when I'm in front of an audience of young people. Is I had no idea, but I had a lot of friends that knew they wanted to go to medical school and then become a doctor, or they knew they wanted to do this or that, and I felt utterly lost. And it was from following my own curiosity that any of this happened. Like I really started finding that how interested I was in journalism and broadcast journalism, and that's what led me to Nick News. And then from being there and being interested in talking with people, that got me to Saturday Night Live. And that's when I met Amy. And then Amy and I wanted to talk with young girls and younger audiences. And so just following what I was curious about has kept me on this path.
The book, Be Yourself, Another Bad Advice, a teen girl's guide to unlearning the rules is wonderful. The foreword is written by Amy Poehler. Where does it go from here for you?
Well, what I really am looking forward to is what comes next, and that's in the fall. I'm going to go for school visits all over the country and to middle schools, high schools, universities, and girl groups, Girl Scout groups, and just getting in the room with more and more girls to talk about this and show them some of this stuff. And that's my favorite part of any of this, is being in the rooms with them. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, one of the great things about it is that maybe one day you'll get to meet Joss Bence in person. How about that?
I would love that. I would love nothing more. Joss, I feel like I could sit and talk with you forever.
Me too, Meredith. It's really nice talking to you.
You too, and thanks so much. Thank you so much for your thoughtful questions. I really appreciate them.
Thank you for your great answers.
The book is Be Yourself, Another Bad Advice, a teen girl's guide to unlearning the rules. Meredith, where do we get our hands on this book?
Well, it depends on how you like to shop for books. If you like going in person, go to any of your favorite bookstores, wherever you live, wherever you are. Great indie bookstores everywhere. But also, if it's easier for you and you shop online, at all your favorite booksellers online. And if you want to stay in touch with me, check me out on Instagram. I'm Meredith, and I'm very Googleable. You can find me there.
There you go. An imprint of workmankids.com. The book is Be Yourself, Another Bad Advice with Meredith Walker. Thanks so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Todd and Joss. That was really fun.